Hello, everybody. It's Larry the GM, and welcome to your Astros Series Guide for the Astros versus the Rangers, July 12th to July 14th. As I say in the preamble to this series guide, guys, ladies, and gentlemen, I consider this series with the Rangers and the series to come with the Mariners coming out of the All-Star break to be the most important 6 games this season. And I'll show you why in just a minute. So before we get into that, let me ask if you guys are watching this on Twitter, please jump over to the YouTube side. I know I've made it available to you on Twitter. I'm trying to make it convenient. Please jump over to my YouTube channel. Look for Larry the GM YouTube channel, and it'll be there. And like the video, subscribe to the channel. And if you really want to do me a favor, please subscribe to the Larry the GM, LarryTheGM.com on the website. You can sign up for a premium membership, which means you'll get this not for just these 2 series, but you'll get it for all the rest of the series this year. And if you really want to get into the action, sign up for a Moneymaker membership, and you will get daily lineup analysis with picks for Bovada and prize picks. And, obviously you take the risk with those picks. There's no guarantee, but we're trying to do the best we can for the folks. All right, here we go. Let's take a look at the series versus Rangers. The Astros, as we all know, are still 2 games back from the Mariners. The offense is a top 8 offense, depending on whatever metric you want to use. The pitching is either the FIP minus is still 22nd in baseball. That's better than it was. But it's been 18th in baseball since June 1st. That's better than it was. The ERA since June 1st is 3.71. That's actually 7th in baseball. The FIP is since all year is 4.08. That's better than it was, and it's been trending well. So when I talk about this series being the most important, one thing I will say, I actually have a table of this. Maybe I'll put it in there. I haven't decided, where I projected what this table will look like after 6 more games. The 6 games, 3 going into the All-Star break, 3 coming out of the All-Star break. And for these teams, and you'll see, here we are with the Astros, 2 games back in the division, 2.5 games back in the wild card. Obviously, if they're able to sweep the Mariners in that series, they will be first in the division. Well, if they sweep, let me say this, backtrack a little bit. If the Astros win the next 6 games, they will be first in the division, no matter what happens to the other teams. If the Astros do less than that, they still could make up another game or 2 on the Mariners. They have a chance to put the Rangers in a position of really not being in contention. The Rangers are 7 games out of the division, 7.5 games out of the wild card. They could, by the end of if the Rangers get swept by the Astros, they are going to be at a world of hurt, and potentially, I think what the theme should be for the Astros to try to move teams from either being buyers all the way to sellers, or buyers to not buying or selling, or being not buyers or sellers to being sellers. The Astros should be attempting to make more team sellers. Guys, they are hot. They are 5 games over 500. That's not bad for a team that was 12 games under 500 not that long ago. So what are we looking at with the Astros and Rangers? So it's interesting because these 2 teams have flip-flop records. Rangers are 44 and 49. The Astros are 49 and 44. When you look at the statistics and you compare them to last year, one of the things you really are struck with is how far the offense has fallen. And that is the key here. The Rangers offense was a 114 WRC plus offense, slightly better than the Astros last year. It's a 95 this year, guys, and it's you'll see in a minute. Well, I mean, you can see it at the bottom of the screen. It's pretty atrocious. OPS of 697 versus the Astros 444. Um, the pitching staffs, the Rangers are slightly better, but the actual difference in the ERA is really not that big. So it's a little better. I guess it's the difference in the FIP is really not that big. We'll get to that in a minute. But the Rangers are worse than they were pitching last year. And the Astros are worse than they were pitching last year, but they've been steadily getting better as the season's gone on. So we shall see where it ends out. But these are two teams. I wrote in here. The Rangers are almost 100 OPS points worse than they were last year. That is a offensive going into hibernation. So what do the Rangers have? All right, so you can see this is the comparative hitting table. We can blow that up. Let's make it easier for everybody to see, and you can see by this. Let me put that down. The Astros have a lot of players that project to be for the rest of the season really still pretty good. They're missing Kyle Tucker. If that Kyle Tucker in his offense, it would be humming right now. There is no true black hole in the Astros offense, either by the projected grades or by the actual performance of the players. You've got a bunch of players that are hovering around 100. This data is actually precedes the Mariner series. I didn't update it for this series, guys. But you can see where they're at, and you can see where they would be if you consider 23 and 24 statistics, which makes the Rangers offense look significantly better if you look at the two seasons together. Now, if you look at the Rangers side, you see an offense that's projected to be really freaking good for at least the top six, and then 7 and 8, not bad. They have not performed. Marcus Semien is the starter for the All-Star game because Jose Altuve backed out. But he's not having a great year, guys. And neither is Aroldis Garcia. Now, let's hope that we can keep Aroldis Garcia has been one of those guys that has just been really challenging for the Astros. Let's hope that they can keep Aroldis Garcia where he's been this year. So you can see that's where the offenses are. You can see I guess you probably can't tell on that. Let me close that back down. So what you can see here is that the Astros offense projects to be 117 the rest of the year. The Rangers are 111. So even the projections now, which aren't as high as they were, are still saying this is a pretty good offense. They should be hitting. Well, they're not, and that's the 95 we talked about before. So where does it go? Well, let's talk about the pitching stats for a minute. Oh, where is the table? Okay. Wow, no one told me. All right, let's get it in there. I am so sorry, guys. You don't have the pitching table in there. Where is your pitching table? All right. Well, let's go fix it and let's go at it. Let's call it up. There. Premium tables. Go up. Pitching table. Copy. Put it in the article. Paste. Expand. Publish. Go back. Refresh. And through the magic of the internet, we should now have our pitching table in there. All right, there we go. Oh, no, did I get the wrong one? No, there it is. All right, so here we go. We have Hunter Brown pitching tonight. You see where he's at, Spencer Arrighetti and Ronel Blanco. Unfortunately for the Astros, I mean, if you look at these two starting staffs, they're kind of similar. I mean, you could make the argument the Rangers have a little more balance in their staff. I mean, Jake Bloss still has fairly negative projections, although his actuals have been better. So we'll see that those projections get better for Jake as he gets a couple more games in. But the one Rangers pitcher that's been really atrocious so far is Michael Lorenzen, and we don't see him in this series. So we have to go against Andrew Haney tonight. Folks at Joint, okay, look at that. I'm frozen now. All right, well, let's get that off. No one wants to see a frozen Larry. So you can see the Andrew Haney. If folks that were with me on Astro's Twitter Spaces last night know that he's a pitcher I'm considering as I'm doing work for the trade deadline. He's actually if the Astros are able to turn the Rangers into sellers, that may be a pitcher they're curious about. So watch that as the game happens tonight. I mean, like that's what I'm going to be looking for. Is Andrew Haney a doable? Is he a pitcher that we want to consider or not? Um, so we got Andrew Haney versus Hunter Brown. That might be a slight advantage to Hunter Brown, but we shall see. And we got Spencer and Getty tomorrow going against Nathan Evaldi. That's probably advantage to the Rangers guys, just being real. Then we got Ronald Blanco up against John Gray, and John Gray has been actually their best pitcher this year. We shall see. Ronald Blanco has a much better ERA related stats than the FIP stats, so we'll see how that plays out. You see the bullpens; they've got Kirby Yates and David Robertson that are doing well for them, and they got a bunch of other guys that have not been so well. And Spores is, I guess, coming back from injury. I thought he was injured, so we shall see about that. All right, so when you look at the pitching staffs overall, one of the things that's interesting, these two pitching staff project to have a 4.17 WAR, 4.17 FIP each one. Now, their actual FIPs are 4.26 and or 4.28 and 4.26. And you see the slight difference in the FIPS, and that translates into a fairly large difference in the FIP minus. That's because of the ballpark effects in there. So you see where these two teams are let's look at it from a starter and reliever standpoint. The Astros bullpen is better from a those numbers are not in there. Dang it, guys. All right, I will update that. We'll go on. All right, so let's look at the Expo tables. I'm sorry, guys. I was rushed to get some of these things done, and I didn't get it done. I will put that table in there, and after I get the video out. So, from a standpoint of, and this has been the same story we've told you guys relative to the left-handed pitchers versus right-handed pitchers. The team has Jordan Alvarez that's good versus lefties. They got the top four that could be classified as good versus righties. You could make the argument that Jose Altuve and Yainer Diaz are good versus lefties from an ex-Woba standpoint. But from an overall team standpoint, the team right now without Kyle Tucker has a challenge, and which has McCormick in versus the lefty like we have tonight, and he's the second best batter from a hybrid ex-Woba standpoint, and that's why just so you know, you can tell who the moneymakers would be looking at. Jordan Alvarez and Kyle Tucker. I mean, Jordan Alvarez and Chas McCormick would be the best versus standard lefties that they face. Now, if you can moneymaker, you can see how they match up exactly with Andrew Haney. All right, so there's and again you can see this tendency for the Astros to be really good at hitting fastballs, not so good at hitting off-speed pitches and breaking pitches, which you should factor in. This is what the moneymakers tables do is you factor that in when you consider Astros batters. So you can see Evaldi, who's thrown quite a bit of off-speed and breaking pitches. John Gray throws a lot of breaking pitches, Andrew Haney is pretty well, split fastball and off-speed and breaking pitches. So see how that plays out. You can see that they're not Andrew Haney from a ex-Woba standpoint. It's not great. John Gray versus an ex-Woba standpoint, that fastball is getting hit hard. So what's more correct, what the stats are or what the ex-Woba says? It'll be a good indication as the series goes on. You can see how it plays out. That's versus lefties versus righties. You can see John Gray is more right there, right at average. But again, the fastball's getting hit. Andrew Haney, look, you can see he's hittable both directions, both lefties versus righties, and those are both below or worse than average. And Nathan Eovaldi is kind of mediocre versus righties. So we shall see if the ex Wobas are more predictive or if the some of the ERA and FIP steps that we looked at were more predictive. All right, so you can see again their pitchers better with the breaking and the off speed pitch. That's true for our Astros pitchers as well. You can see that guys the the ex Woba statistics really don't love Hunter Ronel Blanco yet, and that's because it's got 23 data in there. Now, when we get to August, we can talk about pulling the 23 data out, and we'll see how it looks. I don't want to lose enough pitch data to keep the database repeatable or something that's statistically significant, which you can tell by Jake Bloss here is not statistically significant amount of data in the database. Um, Hunter Brown, overall, really good. That off-speed pitch is great. So if you're looking at Rangers that can't hit the off-speed pitch, I know it's like, okay, a little like 12, 13% of his pitches are off-speed pitches, but you can expect more of that versus the lefties in the Rangers lineup that aren't good against off-speed. So look for that tonight. Tomorrow, when you get Aaron Getty, you can look for a lot of breaking pitches, and Ronel Blanco, again, a lot of breaking and off-speed pitches, just as he's been doing this year. Versus the righties, you can see Ronel Blanco really, really strong with those off-speed, and this is why you see him pitching so much breaking pitches. That fastballs get hit pretty hard for Ronel Blanco. Everything else does not, and that off-speed pitches have been tremendous for him. And so you can see how it plays out for Hunter Brown tonight. Expect Hunter Brown versus the righties to go a lot of breaking pitches, and so even more to those that have a tendency to not do well. So there's your tables. You can, guys, the premium members, you can have those tables up. You'll see how those pitching matchups go, because you can literally put the Rangers batters here, and you can scroll up to the pitcher that's on the mound, see what kind of stuff he has versus the stuff that the hitters can hit. And so you can see the Rangers. You see Wyatt Langford really good versus lefties, and his fairly limited database. And you can see Corey Seager really good versus the righties. So a little bit of clue who you might think would be best for the Rangers tonight. All right, so there you go. There's your premium matchup table. Again, I will get this table fixed for the starters and relievers, and I'll get that out to you in a minute. Take care, guys. Have a good